G'day everybody, the CADASIL vlog bloke here, Patrick. Today I want to talk about the symptoms of my CADASIL. Most people who have CADASIL know that CADASIL varies depending on the severity and the number of symptoms that you have, and much of that comes down to genotype and phenotype, which I won't talk about here. I'll do that separately in another video. I want to address the symptoms that I've had over the years, that I have presently, and what may come in the future. How do I look to you? Okay? Hard to tell, isn't it, just by looking at someone. The first sign that I didn't realise at the time was a sign that I had CADASIL was when I turned 26. Well, not when I turned 26, but I was 26. And one day, after returning from work, I had a migraine for the first time. It started with paresthesia. So the left fingertips, obviously on my left hand, started getting a pins and needle feeling, and that within a few minutes changed to numbness. But the pins and needles feeling started to move up my hand, slowly, up my wrist, up my arm, and by the time I got to my shoulder, I'd say maybe 20 to 25 minutes had passed. But that wasn't the end of it, of course. It then decided to go up here on the entire left side of my face, and then it worked its way down on the left side, down the left side of my chest, and progressed all the way through my leg down to my toes. And I'd probably say that within 40-45 minutes, the paresthesia had resolved itself. Sorry, I just kicked the table leg. After that, some pain set on. And I felt a little nauseous, so I didn't vomit. But I didn't feel good. And I went to bed. And the pain that came on was incredible. It was almost intolerable. I can't remember how long that first migraine lasted. At the age of 26, maybe a few days. A lot of people who are familiar with migraine don't think of them as lasting a few days, let alone a couple of weeks, which is what happened to me regularly for the next almost 25 years. The sequence is always the same. Oddly enough, on quite a few occasions the day before, I used to have excessive yawning, and after a while I learnt that was a signal that one was coming on the next day. But yes, from pre-drome through to prodrome, it was not unusual for me to have excruciating headaches that lasted up to 2 weeks, reasonably regularly. I'd say I had up to about half a dozen, somewhere between half a dozen and 10 migraines a year over that 24 years. Not all lasted 2 weeks, not all were really severe. Some of them, in fact, were silent in the sense that I would have paresthesia, but no pain. And sometimes, a few times, I had paresthesia, complete left-sided paresthesia, twice in the period of 24 hours. So when they stopped, I was really relieved, because I really can't describe how painful and disabling those migraines were. Many times I just had to go to bed and I really couldn't do anything. I missed a lot of work because of those migraines. Then, when I look back in retrospect though, I think anxiety and depression might have been my first signs. Anxiety about the age of 5, which I've had my whole life. Depression in my early teens, possibly even 12 years old. Again, I've had my whole life. But I treat them both. They vary in how they affect me. They go up and down a bit, but they're under control. So, once the migraines were over, what was the next thing that happened? Well, even before the migraines were over, there was fatigue, and it was pretty heavy then. But it's even heavier now, especially since I had my basal ganglia stroke in June last year. Other symptoms, they're the main ones for me. I really should have prepared a bit more for this video, but I do know that I've had multiple microbleeds and microstrokes over the years. I also have extensive white matter hyperintensities on my brain, so those together guiding the path of what will happen with me with CADASIL. And dementia is on the cards. It's not guaranteed, but it could happen. So CADASIL has had a huge impact on my life. It's restricted what I've done socially. It's restricted what I've done employment-wise. And I didn't have many holidays because if I went away, I was really fearful that I would have a migraine. And who wants to be away on holidays when they have a migraine? That happened once on a long weekend when I went with some friends up to the mid-north coast of New South Wales here in Australia. By the time I got there, a migraine came on, and I spent 3 days down in a basement room, darkened, nothing I could do. And then one of my mates had to drive my car back to Sydney because I couldn't do it. And his wife drove theirs back. Anyway, a little insight into my symptoms of CADASIL. As I say, not everyone's the same. Not everyone gets the same number of symptoms. Not everyone gets them as badly. Okay, thanks for listening. Peace and love to all. Bye.